Okay, guys, let's discuss a little bit geopolitics so you can understand why is this war happening, most likely. Because obviously in geopolitics, you can never really know what's happening. You can only try to analyze the situation and trying to guess what are the intentions of the participating states. And although I really, really fucking lose it over the hypocrisy and double standards once in a while, what controls our society, I am an international relations expert and I would like all of us to understand more about what's happening and how, so we can all work to create a better future, a future where we don't have to decide everything by war, however naive it sounds, but by maybe economic pressure. Because the biggest excuse now these people use that why NATO is behaving as it is, and it's perfectly fine because US has the power for it. It's useful that it didn't build its own military. Yeah, that's true. It's useful it didn't build its own military, so it's dependent now on the US. But it's very important to mention as well, it didn't build its military because the policies and the main point of the EU was to create a peaceful and flourishing area where you don't have to decide things by war, but you decide by economic cooperation. But right now, let's focus on the war on Iran. We get all the information, basically the head of states, because they are so fucking out of their mind, or just so much having their heads up in their asses. They don't even try to cover it anymore. They just don't give a fuck, literally. They literally tell us what's happening because people still fall for it anyway. What does it matter? Literally said out the goal is to make sure the Strait of Hormuz nor the Bab al Mandab Strait can be blocked anymore by any participant. It's very important to mention because some people don't understand it. There are choke points. In geopolitics, we call it that way, which means these are very narrow passing points on the sea, which can be blocked by pretty much anyone in that region. And these 2 points, everyone heard about the Strait of Hormuz, I think, in the last 1 week, but maybe not everyone understands it. Why is it so important? And Bab al Mandab Strait are so important choking points because the two of them together, with the increasing rate of oil production, with the sanctions on Russia, last year there was 27% of all maritime oil trade came from that region, from the Arabic Peninsula. What it means, and most of this oil is going to Asia. Some of them to Europe, obviously, mainly LNG, but basically it's the biggest issue for Asian countries because pretty much every oil from there is heading to Asia. And Netanyahu literally said out that their main goal would be to build out a landline to completely avoid these choking points, which means he himself said out that literally started the whole war with the US in order to scare the world away from using these straits, so every oil from the region can go through Israel. And what's happening in the meantime, while there is a war happening in Iran, of course, Israel is continuing its genocide in Palestine, annexing illegally territories, both from Gaza, both from Lebanon. They literally try to control the whole region there, so everything has to pass through them, what wants to go to Europe. Why it's very important to understand, because first of all, don't justify this war for these war criminals saying they are there to help Iran, to free the Iranian people. They are not freeing anyone. They only free people from their lives. Second of all, they're telling you why are they doing it. And by the way, when people say like, oh, Israel is doing their own stuff, it's not like the US can control it. He literally says it out now as well, that in that conference or report, you can check it yourself. But by the way, I will have it somewhere on top of me or something else, so you can check it. Or maybe I will keep it running after this one, so you can see what I'm talking about. That they are the besties with the US and they are cooperating on every single action. And even if he exaggerates a little bit about it, we can see and we know they are cooperating in this war very heavily. And then we have the other part, which is a literal genocide against Palestine. And then today, in this day, Trump just said, when a reporter asked, a journalist asked, isn't it war crime to bomb facilities which are about energy in Iran? Because that's what he's threatening right now will happen tomorrow if he doesn't get what he wants in a war that he started. And he said, there is nothing bad about it. Those are animals. Animals. You think that person wanted to help Iran when it calls the Iranians animals, so he can destroy any energy plant there? People, we cannot live in a world like this. We cannot let our generation as well to follow these old motherfuckers who really only know how to ruin the world. We have to wake up, we have to stand up to the unjust, and we have to say it was enough. You can see, you can clearly see, they themselves say out that yes, we do it for political reasons. They literally say it out in television because that's how much they don't care. Then why? Why do you want to justify it? This is really the world you want to live in. This is really what you would want your own family, for your own children to grow up in. A system that is controlled by the biggest dog. A system where the strongest controls everything. A system which is basically a Cold War still. There's Russia, there's US, their allies, and everyone else. Fuck you. Like, guys, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up and stand up for justice, for real justice. To stand up and don't just say that 100,000 plus dead people in Palestine is acceptable because they are terrorists. They are Muslims. Nothing is acceptable. And most of those people you call terrorists are not terrorists. They're fighting for their freedom. They're doing the same as Ukraine, that most people praising all the time, that they're defending their country. Then why can't you say it for those people who died as well in the Middle East? Why do you think it's acceptable to call those people terrorists when they are defending their own country? Why do you want to live in such a hypocritical, double standard-based system? You either serve me or you'll die. Just think a little bit. They said it themselves. What are the political reasons? And Trump just literally said, these are animals. We can do whatever we want with them. Do you think he went there to save people, to liberate anyone? When he previously clarified in his own very smart posting that, oh yeah, by the way, we send the weapons We send the weapons to Iranian groups so they can stand up to the regime, and that's why there were close to 6,000 or 6,000 plus dead people at the rebellion at the start of the year. Not 40,000. That's where it starts. That was the bullshit that Trump, with his so fucking educated mind, created. UN clarified number, close to 6,000 dead people, and a few thousand more they cannot clarify so far, which is brutal. And that's already 6,000 or how much more than it should have been, because there should be peace. But the fact you call it a regime and you call those people terrorists when you can see that whole thing was fired up by the US and Mossad agents. Come on. Just don't fall for propaganda. The best thing we can have to end this war is to the US to get the fuck back home, because they have nothing to do, no right to be in the Middle East at all. And then having Oman and Iran together take control over the Strait of Hormuz. Oman is the country in that region which you can trust. They are the only nation there. Iran never attacked anyone in the last 100 years either. Let's just say that. But you know what? Whatever, terrorists. Oman is a really fascinating country there, where the leadership really does everything in order to keep peace. And ever since Sultan Qaboos came to power in the 70s, it's a beautifully developing, fantastic nation. And they only defended themselves from other attacks, by the way, like the United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia. Those countries are not the peaceful ones. The best thing we can hope for is an Oman and Irani cooperation over the Strait of Hormuz, because there is nothing better that could happen to that region. And that would bring peace, relative peace to the station, to the nation, to the area. Because if not, just look at what's happening in Syria. The new president is a terrorist, an ex-Al-Qaeda leader, and still traveling around the world, shaking hands with all the big leaders. Macron, Friedrich Merz, Trump, Zelensky, parading around in the Western world, showing that, oh wow, I'm such an amazing man, I'm a changed man. And just in the last 10 months of his presidency, more than 100,000, more than 106,000 civilians were murdered in Syria. And we call that a president our best friendly. Because pinky promise we will work with you. And then you call Iran a terrorist who never attacked anyone in the last 100 years? Just wake up. If not us, if not the new generation will step up, who was born into peace, who was born into technology, information, then there is no going back anymore. If we don't make a change, then the world will completely fall for idiocracy. And there is no coming back from that. We cannot let hypocrisy and double standard control our world. We have to make sure we have a standard. And we say no matter who goes over that is evil. We can't just say like, oh, you're a terrorist, you're my buddy. We can't just say like, oh, you can kill because you save people, liberate, right? But if the other one defends itself, then he's a terrorist, he's an evil. Murder is murder. And if you murder, you're a killer. Doesn't matter whether you have the United States flag stamped to your shoulders. We can only create a future if we have our own justice, if we have our own standards. Because you can all see that trolls try to control the media. Paid actors and paid people who don't give a fuck because they don't have a spine, they don't have standards, get all the help from the government. So use the tools available for you for information. Try to stand up for justice, your own justice. Don't let others decide for you, or there won't be much more future to look out for.